everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Triple P Show. We're going to figure out this whole intro situation. So if anybody has an intro idea in the chat or anyone in the stream tonight, please let me know. Let me know because we're still trying to figure that out. I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor, for the third episode of the Triple P Show, along for Ethan with Ethan WX. Ethan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Ready to get right into the weather.
Yes, we are. We also have Brendan here, who's our general manager from Storms United. Hey, Brendan, what's up, dude?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be on the Triple P Show. Thank you for the invite. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I invited myself.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I was originally I wanted to tonight I just to start off with I wanted it just Ethan and I, but Brendan, you can stay on too because I think your input will be important with this, and we could say that you're the guest for the show tonight if that's all right.
Oh, heck yeah! Very
Yeah,
cool.
ladies and gentlemen, Brendan is our new show guest tonight. We didn't have one scheduled
everybody.
for this week, so that's a pretty welcome surprise. So yeah, we're gonna do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and dive right into it right here. We have a couple of things that we're gonna be talking about tonight. But before we do all that, just how's everybody doing tonight? It's Good Friday night. We're all chilling.
Yeah, I'm doing good here.
Yep, good here as well. And greetings to all of you from northern Wisconsin. I'm here on vacation for the next week. Took some well-needed PTO, and it is still going to be 95 degrees come Monday and Tuesday. It's going to be hotter than hell from that high pressure out west. So
awesome.
Can't escape the heat, even as far north as you want to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my buddy Arthur.
Yeah, I'm in Maryland, and we had that last week. We had 3 straight days of 100 degrees, which where I live was actually the first time that's happened since 1966. So yeah, and we had like a heat index each day was over 115, so it was absolutely miserable. July 1st through the 4th. And then we had some severe weather to finish that out on the 4th with a lot of wind damage across the region. I think I talked a little bit about that in the last episode, but yeah, crazy week it's been here weather-wise.
Absolutely. It's actually storming outside right now at my place, so that's going to be cool for sure. But all right, ladies, now the pleasantries are kind of aside. We have a couple of topics that we want to get into tonight. We're going to start off with the El Niño that is currently ongoing across parts of the world. It's going on in the ENSO region. And then after that, for the next for the second half of this, we're going to have a hurricane season debate because I'm not sure if you've guys have seen lately, but yesterday I put out a video talking about that a little bit. But before that, there was a little bit of controversy in the comments on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. We're gonna get into a little bit of a debate tonight to kind of put all of the rumors and all the stuff to bed. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. But before we do, Llama Aviation, my sister's birthday is today. Happy belated birthday to her. My birthday is actually coming up on next Friday, as a matter of fact, so I'm looking forward to that for sure. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive right into it, guys. We have quite a bit to talk about. Starting off with the big quote-unquote super El Nino that is going on across much of the ENSO region, already starting to impact weather across the world. Very slow start to the hurricane season. Ethan, let's go ahead and put this over to you. And same thing with Brendan. What are your guys' thoughts on the El Nino that's going on?
Well, from the Mid-Atlantic East Coast point of view, obviously the most interesting implication of the El Nino here is going to be the winter. Some of our biggest snowstorms have historically happened during very strong El Nino years. Look at 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
December 2015 was by far the warmest December on record here. Many days in the 60s and 70s. I remember it was actually 75 degrees on Christmas Eve that year, which was absolutely insane. And then the next month, we had well above average rainfall in January. And finally, on January 22nd through 23rd, we had the historic 2016 blizzard, which shattered countless snowfall records across the mid-Atlantic region. We were basically right in the bullseye of it here in Hagerstown area, Maryland, and we had over 3 feet of snow in the span of a little over 24 hours. So absolutely incredible, historic blizzard. And honestly, this year's El Nino could be a lot stronger than that. So there is a chance that we see some pretty incredible nor'easters this year, rivaling that one, or even maybe the nor'easter that impacted parts of the East Coast back in February, late February this year. That was a pretty very intense storm that caused a lot of damage, basically from like parts of Virginia, the Delmarva, New Jersey, and then up in New England. So
absolutely,
definitely could see some very significant nor'easter impacts, all up along the East Coast this year. But that's really the main thing that I'm watching for here in the Mid-Atlantic is the potential for a very, very significant nor'easter, or even multiple of them.
Yeah, that's for sure. For sure. I was just looking at, because some people in chat were talking to me about it in the stream right now. We have 4 areas of interest right now in the Eastern Pacific, likely enhanced by this developing El Nino that's going on. It weakens the hurricane season in the Atlantic, really ramps up the hurricane season in the Pacific, and that's what I'm watching out for right now, for sure. I put out a winter weather video about last week, as a matter of fact, kind of talking about that and how it looked, how from everything it looked from it, for sure, on top of what's going on with hurricane season this year, the winter, from what I've seen from the early implications, Ethan was bringing this up, how the mid-Atlantic was definitely in one of those bullseyes for sure during an El Nino season. Definitely looked like it once again from the early implications that we had going on with that as well. You had a lot more moisture injection over there. You had colder temperatures, especially if you go further into the south in areas like Virginia and the Carolinas and that region as well. I talk about it more in depth in my video if you want to go ahead and check that out. But ultimately, yeah, that's what we're paying attention to. Brendan, what are your thoughts on the El Nino that's currently developing?
Yeah, I would definitely echo Ethan's point. I mean, when we think about El Nino, especially in the stronger years like 2015 and 16,
Yeah.
my attention also turns to the Northeast when it comes to the winter season. But one other thing that I'm really interested in, and I think you kind of teed it off well, Pat, is the East Pack.
Yeah.
We already have 4 areas of interest, and my prediction is going to be a little bit bold, but I do think we see either a Cat 1 or a Cat 2 hurricane make a landfall in Hawaii this season. I just, considering the just anomalous El Nino that we're about to undertake, considering the current conditions out in the Eastern Pacific and even out towards the Central Pacific, it really is an environment supportive for storms to last all the way out to Hawaii. Now, you and I and others in the call know that storms in Hawaii are very rare, right? There's not a very long or lengthy historical catalog of those systems. But, this is also a very bizarre year in that if you look at those temp anomalies in the El Nino forecast, we're talking about not just a record-breaking one, but 4.5 degrees Celsius temp anomaly. That's just unheard of. So this is a very unprecedented season, and sometimes that calls for unprecedented weather that comes of it, and I think that's my first prediction. But then the other thing I'll mention too is, we talk a lot about what we expect from climate patterns, right?
Right.
I mean, I think, again, Ethan pointed out quite well that in a typical El Nino, we would expect to see winter weather most active in the Northeast and least active in places like the Midwest. But I think the other thing to focus in on is I think we're going to see more volatility, right? I mean, yes, the Northeast can expect that activity to ramp up for the winter, but we've even just seen in the last 5 years a lot in the way of pattern shifts. I mean, look no further than what's happening in the Western United States. We have an area of high pressure that's building in the 4 corners, a ring of fire pattern, very strong one, that could really spell trouble for a lot of wildfires that are already active, especially out in Colorado, the Aspen fire. Very concerned about that and all other wildfire activity across that region. But just 2 weeks ago, we saw that same high pressure across the central United States, a very anomalous high pressure, right? We saw temperatures in the triple digits in places like Chicago, again, well above normal for this time of year. So, case in point, I think two storylines to watch. Yes, we have the, rules of thumb of what we could expect from El Nino, but let's not forget this is a unique situation. And from that, my prediction and what I think is going to happen is we will possibly see a Cat 1, Cat 2 in Hawaii. That's my forecast for this year, at least one. And on top of that, I think we will certainly see a lot in the way of more volatility within our weather patterns as a result.
All right. Yeah, I could definitely see that high pressure system even building up on satellite too. I'm noticing that as well. I'm noticing kind of that clockwise rotation that you would typically see. You're seeing a lot of convection like south of the US-Mexico border around Arizona in the Sonora Desert. That's shifting further to the west, whereas everything to the north of it's shifting east. That's a telltale sign of it right there. Yeah, I'm definitely picking up on that too. Also picking up on the extreme heat as well that we dealt with. You mentioned Chicago, triple-digit temperatures. Not just the triple-digit temperatures, but also the heat index that came with that as well. A huge humidity that ended up exacerbating those problems over there as well. And to your point about it being a more volatile weather pattern, we've definitely seen that already. We've seen that heat wave start to come in. We've had definitely seen some of the severe weather aspect of it as well. The main question that we have is how is this going to ramp up by the time we get to autumn? By the time we get to winter? That's the main thing that we need to that I'm curious about, especially if this El Nino is expected to continue surging at the rate it is right now. But yeah, just a lot to unpack tonight.
Patrick, I do want to. Yeah, Patrick, I do want to add on to that.
Yeah.
With what I was saying earlier about the increased risk of nor'easters.
Yep.
In the eastern U.S.
Sure.
One of the things that we tend to see with the El Nino pattern, especially an El Nino pattern that's this strong, is the strengthening of the subtropical jet.
Yeah.
And especially that's going to have major impacts for especially the southeast U.S. as well, parts of Florida, because we have those storms that come across, these nor'easters that are in their early stages. These systems can produce very significant severe weather outbreaks and heavy, much above average wintertime precip. And I know we have quite a few people from Florida, especially who follow Pat's Path Predictor and are also listening in on this call right now.
I know several people.
Just because we have so many, just because we our hurricane coverage tends to pull a lot of views, but Florida definitely, even if we're probably not going to see a landfalling hurricane this year in Florida, I think it's honestly quite unlikely. The severe weather season could definitely make up for that. There's absolutely a chance for tornado outbreaks, damaging wind events, and even flooding with any of these nor'easter storms as they come across from the Gulf into the Atlantic. So that's just another thing to look out for this winter. If you're in Florida, we could definitely see some pretty intense severe weather during that December to March timeframe.
Absolutely. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and would you want to take a look at the climatological models a little bit tonight to kind of see the early indication? We did that on my winter weather video, but do you want to go ahead and go over those?
Yeah, we could definitely dive right into those.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to shift over to the CONUS, and we're going to start off right here. I'm going to share my screen for Ethan so that way he can get a good idea of what we're looking at with this as well. But here's what we got. What do we want to look at? Do we first, Ethan? What are we thinking? Temp anomalies, moisture. What do you want?
I do think we want to look at moisture first, so that the viewers can really see that pattern as we go into the winter months.
Yeah, this is monthly accumulated precipitation anomalies. This is in inches right here. So basically, this is what we got. Let's go ahead and move on to October, November. Already, I'm starting to see that pattern you're talking about, Ethan, in November 2026.
Yeah, see that across the deep south, and then especially Florida there. Especially like the side of Florida, like the Panhandle, those areas tend to be actually more vulnerable than one might think from wintertime severe weather outbreaks. There have been quite a few tornado outbreaks, and especially around like the February timeframe in the Panhandle of Florida. So that's going to be something to watch for certain.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that November pattern, that is prime for severe weather across the Deep South.
Absolutely. Before I continue, John 542E, our head admin at Storms United, sent a donation of 1,000 joules. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate that. Any support to the Pat's Path Predictor channel and the Triple P show is much appreciated. Be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. So thank you very much for that. But yeah,
and join Storms United too. Join Storms United.
Oh yes, let me go ahead and put the link in the in the stream real quickly. Let's go ahead and copy that and put that in here. All right, that's this Discord link to Storms United. I'm pinning the chat so that way people could see it. But join the Storms United Discord server for sure. Yeah, later tonight we'll be taking in call-ins, so that'll be pretty fun to do. So thank you very much for joining that. Thanks, John, for pointing that out. But anyway, yeah, I'm definitely seeing the same pattern. The pure moisture. I'm looking at this. What is this about? Like, this is in some areas in Alabama and Florida exceeding 6 inches of accumulated precip over the climatological average. That is not a small amount right there, ladies and gentlemen. And on top of that, you're looking. On top of that, you're bringing in the insane amount of moisture you're dealing with in the Gulf region. Right now as well. You're also taking a quick gander. You're starting to see these moisture anomalies really creeping up in the East Coast. New York City, Baltimore, D.C., Philly, Boston. Definitely you're going to want to pay attention to this, especially as those nor'easters start to ramp up. Let's go ahead and move into December. Ethan, it looks to me that at least from the CFS that we're seeing, it looks like Florida really gets a lot of moisture, potentially a lot of stormy weather from this, on top of just it shifting further to the east and bringing potentially more bad weather across much of the East Coast this year, for at least starting in December. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, look at the Florida Panhandle here. Some of those anomalies, I mean, that's got to be what, plus 6 inches there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if that forecast holds, then we're going to be seeing, severe weather events probably extending well down beyond just, North Florida and the Panhandle, which is where the severe weather tends to be focused in the wintertime. That's places like Orlando, Tampa, down through Central Florida, and then even down towards like Miami in the line of fire. So very, very interesting thing that we're going to have to definitely pay attention to as we head into the colder months. But yeah, prime nor'easter season in the mid-Atlantic, at least, and especially also in the Northeast, tends to be like February and March, sometimes January.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely want to see February, because that's going to give us an indication of just how, likely it is actually that we will see a nor'easter.
Well, this is February.
Yeah, looking at February there, we see our above average precip extending pretty far north. So that is a very good indication that there will be at least one or even a couple of nor'easter storms. And then what's interesting is also the Midwest too is now, not a major anomaly there, but definitely above average. So I think honestly, once we get into the later part of the winter, we won't just be seeing a severe weather threat in the Deep South. We'll be seeing a more active winter across the board for much of the eastern U.S.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to go ahead and go back to January very quickly just to kind of point out a few things here. Number one, look at what's going on in California. That's your Pineapple Express right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's going to really start ramping up going into January and February. March, it starts to taper off, but this is, but man, that's going to be a very interesting situation. And I find it curious that a lot of these moisture anomalies are concentrated around the Los Angeles area as well. I know the last time we had our El Nino back in 2023, that was also a pretty bad situation too, in terms of your Pineapple Express bringing a lot of flash flooding over there, both in 2022 and 2023's seasons right there. But mainly going
Yeah,
into
I know during 2023 it was the Central Valley of California that really saw massive flooding. I think it was January 2023. There were a number of storms that came through, and I believe the total estimated damages were around 30 billion from that.
Yeah.
So very costly, widespread, and prolonged flooding for those areas. And we actually know someone who's going to be in that region working for the NWS pretty soon.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah,
So once that
Matt.
time comes around, we'll definitely try to get him on the show and have him talk about what he can.
Yeah, well,
because it will be very interesting. Because I think once we get to that time period, we could be seeing very significant flooding events, in California, and we'll have someone, one of our own guys there on the ground, to maybe share, some perspective on it.
yeah,
But yeah, California is also looking at a very, very active pattern, with probably a pretty significant flood risk going into the winter.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's another situation that we're gonna want to watch out for. I do find this curious, Ethan, because looking at February, it looks to me that, I mean, normally what you would see with an El Nino, you wouldn't see as much precip and as much convective activity across much of the Midwest. But February 2027 is definitely a different shift from what we've seen before. Great Plains like Kansas, Nebraska, Illinois, Indiana, that area in the Midwest, more moisture than average. And just for my own curiosity, what's the temperatures going to look like over there? Yeah. This is a very interesting setup over here, for sure. So, yeah. Yeah, this is for February. This is late winter over here. You don't typically, Ethan, you don't typically see it in an El Nino. You mainly see it concentrated in the coast, not so much in the Midwest, do you? Hello?
Yeah, usually it's more or less the deep south. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Ethan? I can hear you.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, as I was saying, yeah, I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's more or less, the deep south, the southeast, up through the east coast is where you tend to see those anomalies during an El Nino year. But it is interesting to see the Midwest, and then you almost have like warm air or above average temps situated northeast of that. That indicates to me that we're going to be seeing a lot of like strong negatively tilted troughs, which that is an excellent pattern for major winter storms across both the Midwest and especially on the East Coast.
There we go. Yeah, all right. Yeah, sorry, I had to deal with someone spamming in chat, Ethan. All right. Yeah, it's definitely. Thank you very much for that. Let's go ahead and move over to our temperature anomalies real quickly, because I think this is interesting. I talked about this in the winter weather video I put out, but looking at what we've seen, we go from a very above average winter weather pattern right here, encompassing much of the continental United States. Before I get going, we did have a donation right here. Phoenix is a fat little boy. Donated $10. Being that I'm very small but also very fat and living in tropical hellbox like Cape Coral, Florida, would you say that I am, in fact, cooked next year? Should I double dump my litter box now or not? Well, first of all, thank you very much for the donation. We'll talk more about that later in the stream. But what I'll say is, it's 2027 is going to
watch out this winter.
Yeah, watch out this winter. And we'll talk about the 2027 hurricane season in just a little bit. But thank you very much for the $10 donation. That is very much appreciated, as it is all support to the Pat's Path Predictor channel and the Triple P show. But anyway, Ethan, let's go ahead and keep going. You kind of see the pattern flip from December to February on the CFS right here. You go from above average to below average very, very quickly. going on. And that's a pretty big situation that we're going to want to pay attention to. Um, what are your
Yeah, what
yeah,
I notice more is the orientation of that cold
yeah,
air.
me too.
That is what really stands out to me, is because that would be, that would indicate strong negatively tilted troughs, which, anyone, as we know, negatively tilted troughs tend to be the most conducive for, significant cyclogenesis. So that pattern especially is going to favor, pretty significant winter storms
Oh
across the
yeah,
eastern US.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And also severe weather too, in
mhm.
the places that will be warm enough to get it, like the deep south in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. I am the biggest thing I'm noticing is okay, this is March. I don't want to talk about that too much. You're looking at your coldest anomaly temperatures right here across parts of Kansas and Oklahoma over here in the Great Plains. That's compa- uh, c- compared to what we've seen in previous El Ninos. That's quite a bit different, isn't? I would you'd think that those anomalies would be in the deep south or on the east coast, right? Like instead, they're much further to the west. S
Yeah, that's interesting to see.
yeah,
So that maybe suggests that, our major winter storms will be further west. Possibly not just, off the east coast of the U.S., but also moving through, Appalachia and the Midwest as well. So that could explain our above average precip come like February across the Midwest.
yeah,
Because I think normally during an El Nino year, you tend to see below average precip across the board in the Midwest and above average on the East Coast. Now, this year is interesting because if this forecast holds, we'll be seeing above average precip now, more above average in the Southeast and the East Coast, but still above average in the Midwest.
absolutely.
So, I mean, that indicates to me that this year could be absolutely relentless
In terms of the
during the
winter
winter for
weather,
a lot of places. Yeah, it could be a hyperactive winter.
geez,
Unlike anything that we've seen in at least a couple of years.
yeah. Man, I thought last year's was crazy, especially with the winter storms and the cold that came after that. This to me, like, if
Because
what's up?
yeah, I was gonna say 2015 to 2016, those above average precip, that was really only in the southeast and up the east coast. Like,
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware, the Midwest and really the central US in general did not experience a lot
we
of,
didn't.
significant winter storms that season.
We did not.
This year is in now this where this year could be different is, we could see a much more, wider spread of impacts. The Midwest gets in on it more compared to other El Ninos where it's more localized to just the East Coast.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then we might have a situation where it's not just the coasts that get affected by this El Nino. It's going to be affecting everybody, it seems, right here. I was looking at it last week on the CFS because because the traditional thinking is Midwest stays relatively quiet and more mild. Deep South increased severe weather but colder than average. Um, you also you also have the mountain regions as well that remain relatively quiet compared to previous to before. But now that we're seeing this new pattern right here, it's a very big concern. Also, just want to look at March real quickly. Can we? This is March 2027. This is when spring is supposed to start, and we're looking at much colder than average temperatures across much of the continental United States. Right here, I don't think I don't know if this is going to translate to more winter weather maybe in early March right here, but this is a very interesting situation. Some of these temperatures are potentially getting down to close to double digits degrees Celsius below average, especially in Nebraska and Kansas. So, yeah, so that's definitely an interesting situation to paying out. I want to look at the moisture. Okay. Yeah, it looks to me that in March, starting in March, it's just going to be generally cold across much of the U.S. Not too much precip according to the CFS. Um, Ethan, what are we? Uh, yeah, what are we thinking for at least later this winter? Do you think it's going to be active through the entire winter, or do you think it's going to be more active after the new year? Which is what I'm kind of thinking right now.
So based on what we looked at, I think November, December, we're going to see more storms further south, actually. So
Okay.
I think those months are going to be, pretty like the deep south and Florida. I think during those months, we'll definitely see storms and we'll definitely see, you know, some severe weather. But I don't think like the Midwest and honestly, even really that far up the East Coast will see a lot of activity those months because the storms will actually be further south.
Yeah.
It's once we get into like late into January and especially February is when things start to look a lot more concerning because I think that's when we could see, widespread winter storm impacts across multiple areas of the country.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um yeah, so that's kind of so yeah, just it's definitely a pretty crazy situation to deal with right here, especially like this is I have to reiterate this is not your typical El Nino pattern, and like let alone considering the fact that we're dealing with potentially temperatures in regions 3.4 like according to some models exceeding 4 degrees Celsius. That is like man. um just it's going to be a wild winter from everything that I have seen so far, for sure. But is there anything else you want to go over on the CFS?
I think that really covers, now keep in mind to all the people watching that this is just one model
Yeah.
run. Um,
Hold on.
so, we can't take it as gospel, but it is, something that we need to keep in mind for the general pattern. I think it is very interesting too that this is actually a little bit of an anomalous El
Yeah,
Nino pattern.
very much so. Look at the pressure real quickly. These are your pressure anomalies, ladies and gentlemen. This is November 2026. Major shift. Like this is a switch that goes off from November to December. You go from a high pressure system over much of the Midwest. This is something you typically expect for an El Nino year in November, going to almost all lower than average. That is an indicator of more stormy weather in general. I talked about this in my winter weather video, although I don't think I made it clear enough. This is a general like lower pressure equals stronger thunderstorms in general. Higher pressure equals less thunderstorms. Hopefully what I'm saying is making some sense over here. But overall, Ethan, what a switch right here. It
Yeah,
kind of
and
just emphasizes what you were pointing out about November being in December being kind of a lot more active in the southern months and then shifting further and further up to the north.
yeah, that's kind of our warm up months. I mean, look at that. The center of that anomaly that's kind of off the coast of like Georgia, South Carolina,
Yeah.
North Carolina. I think that's going to be the bulk of our storms that are producing severe weather across the deep south.
Yep.
But like I said, lower across the board. So maybe we do see some of those impacts further north at that point. But it's going to be very interesting to see how that evolves in like January, February, because I would expect in February too to see, a low pressure anomaly across the board, but then especially off the east coast of the US and off the coast of California too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we got. And let's go ahead and go to January. Yikes.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that is just
That is a
that is
that
that's
is a
crazy.
pretty powerful Pineapple Express over here, and that's also a very powerful nor'easter setup. That's what that is.
Yeah, that I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that.
Oh, look, it does. It does. This is
Yep, there you go.
4.5, like this is over 4.5 millibars below average. Like any entire synoptic region. This isn't like a hurricane or severe weather system. This is the month right here. Holy hell.
Yeah, that is very concerning to say the least.
On top of the colder
Yeah,
temperatures
that
too.
that is a pattern that could definitely deliver some incredible nor'easter storms and also major winter storms across the Midwest. And yeah, look at that. Look at that on the West Coast too. So that's going to be a perfect setup for major flooding,
Oh
from California as well.
yeah.
But wow, yeah, that is. I mean, I think we're looking at a hyperactive and unusually damaging winter weather season this year.
February by far seems to be the most favorable month for extreme winter weather activity. By far. I want to look at what we were looking at. I want to see what we were seeing at this point last week. This was at this point last week when I recorded the video. I thought this was crazy right here. Going from like in January and February, I thought this was crazy. I did not expect to see this. So definitely a pretty big swing.
It seems like our model is doubling down, and this El Nino is going to be unusually powerful. And I actually think, now I might be wrong on this, but I believe it has been ahead of schedule. It's been stronger than it essentially was forecasted to be at certain times.
The El Nino?
So yeah, the El Nino itself, I believe it has been outperforming a lot of forecasts.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people can correct me on that, but that's just what I've been hearing around. Yeah, and some people are saying, yes, this is one model. It is. Then this is a very, very aggressive scenario here.
Yeah.
And obviously, weather models these days are struggling because of funding cuts and the lack of balloon data. But keep in mind, these are long range models. So
I have the CanSIPs pulled up for context, right?
CanSIPs, you cannot, you can't take this to heart. But like I said, very similar pattern there. So I mean, it's absolutely something that I think our viewers in the regions that we're mentioning should be mindful of.
Absolutely.
As we go into the colder months.
100%. Yeah. I looked at the CanSIPs, similar pattern, not nearly as aggressive from what I've seen. This is January. This is November, December, January, February. Not as aggressive, but it's still a pattern that's there. Does the NMME do this? No, it doesn't. It just does temperature and moisture. Let's look at the precip. NMME is pretty, like, this is your classic El Nino setup according to the NMME. CanSIPs is, I'd say, yeah, it's your classic setup.
Yeah, that's your classic El Nino right there.
Yeah, and this is the NMME for July 8th right here. What was it for June 8th? Okay, not too big of a difference, I would say. Yeah, not too big of a difference right here. CFS has been, the CFS has gone insane. What's the CanSIPs going for? What's the NMME? Okay, so we're seeing a pretty wide spread with this, ladies and gentlemen. The NMME seems to be the middle ground between the CFS and the CanSIPs. The CFS is the aggressive, CanSIPs is conservative, NMME is in the middle, it looks like. That's kind of our situation what we got right here. It's gonna meet somewhere in the middle.
Every single model has that classic El Nino pattern for the Southeast and the East Coast. So I think, at this point, we can almost guarantee that there will be above average precip and probably more significant nor'easter and winter storm activity than usual.
Yeah, the power
for those
numbers
regions.
Too. The power numbers are going to go way
So yeah,
up.
if you're in Florida, and especially Florida, but also other parts of the deep South, be prepared for severe weather this winter. Absolutely. If you're in the Mid-Atlantic through the Northeast, then definitely be prepared for some major winter storms, because if there is a year that we could get them, it will be this year.
Absolutely. Let's look at the CanSIPs real quickly. CanSIPs doesn't do this. The 2-meter temperature anomalies. The CanSIPs is definitely differing from what the CFS and the NMME are showing with this right here. NMME is more concentrated in the deep South. CanSIPs is kind of all over the place. Pretty much like showing cold anomalies in the Midwest. CFS, what are we looking at? Yeah, the temperature, the anomalies are more so all over the place. to me, at least according to these models. That's the one thing we need to pay attention to. Moisture seems to be somewhat reasonable on all three, albeit the CFS wants it all over the place. The NMME and the CANSIPs are a bit more conservative, although the NMME wants more moisture than the CANSIPs in the Midwest. In terms of your pressures, at least the CFS and the CANSIPs are looking at a similar setup, albeit the power of that is going to be debated. We'll have to see what happens, and if this El Nino is ahead of schedule, I would not be surprised if we see lower pressure anomalies, at least along the coasts. Is that a hot take, Ethan? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think that is definitely in line with what we would expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, El Nino is. I mean, yeah, like I said, these are just model forecasts. I mean, we're still months away, but all the indications are there that it's going to be a hyperactive winter across the southeast and the eastern U.S. and possibly the Midwest, which would be unusual for an El Nino pattern. But I mean, with the strength of this El Nino, we could definitely see, some things that we normally wouldn't see. So we can't go immediately comparing it to past years. Like I want to say 1997 to 98 was a very strong El Nino. Obviously 2015 to 2016. So we're going to be seeing some of those. I mean, obviously those will be analog years, but this year with the strength of this El Nino, I mean, we're like plus 4 degrees Celsius already, I think, in some places in the East Pacific.
Yeah.
So this year it could be unprecedented, which means we could see, things that we normally would not see with an El Nino.
For sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull this up. Let's go ahead and pull up the charts then real quickly in terms of our El Nino. Let's go ahead and pull up the current analysis that we have on this. We'll go ahead and open these. We'll go ahead and open these up in new tabs. Let's go ahead and do regions 1 and 2 as well, just to kind of show that. Open image in new tab. Let's do region. Yeah, that's fine. All right, cool. So this is what we got right here. This is region 3.4. On an upward swing, especially, definitely been on this upward tick over the last 6 weeks or so, going from about 0.5 to about 1.7. Regions 1 and 2, though, holding steady at a pretty good, let me go ahead and shift my camera over, at a pretty quote-unquote conservative 2.87. Ethan, what do you think about this? And yes, I am smiling.
I mean, yeah, that. I mean, that honestly, that could be too conservative.
Yeah.
Right
this
there.
is current analysis. Yeah, current analysis right here. Definitely interesting. It's definitely quite. I've been doing this for a while. I've not seen numbers like this since 2015. 2023 definitely. 2023 is definitely a strong El Nino, but it didn't last that long, and I didn't see this amount of this high of anomalies this early in the year. I have not seen anything like this since 2015.
Yeah, I think this year, this El Nino is going to be significantly more powerful than the 2023 one was.
Yeah.
Like this year, this one will be on the level of 2015 to 16, if not stronger, once the time comes for it to peak.
Sure. Let's see. I'm looking at this. Okay. I'm on Cyclonic WX right here, Ethan. I'm pulling this up. Okay. Regardless, these readings are almost off the charts. Let me go ahead and pull up 1 and 2. This is what we have for 3 and 4. We've passed 2 degrees Celsius right here. I think that's what some of the observations we're seeing when we were talking to our guys behind the scenes in our group chat.
Yeah, and to think we were at like hardly above 0 just back in April. Like the rate at which that change has occurred is just, I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
To go from basically neutral back in April to a strong El Nino by July.
Absolutely. And then going into regions 1 and 2, dipped up a little bit, but it's been kind of persistent. We're almost at 3.5 degrees Celsius with region 1 and 2, which is off the coast of, which is close to the coast of South America at this current point. Man. If there's any doubt of this maybe being not being so historic, I wouldn't say throw that out the window just yet. I said that. May have
I'll
said
say
that.
the numbers speak for themselves at this point.
Yeah. Some of the. I'm gonna need to revise some of my El Nino video. Just seeing.
Yeah,
this.
we're definitely gonna want to make an update on that.
Oh yeah.
Here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna put one out sooner rather than later. Yeah, I know a lot of content creators have been putting them out. I know David's been putting out one each week, which good for him, and all of that. But yeah, we're gonna have to. I might have to revise some things with that, seeing these returns in real time. So, all right, cool. But yeah, 3.4 degrees Celsius above is insane. Just for comparison, that is 6.3 degree Fahrenheit temperature change. Just to give you an idea of, I'll give you this idea. Imagine you wake up in the morning to a nice crisp 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Instead of waking up to that, you're waking up to 74.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Ethan, that doesn't sound very comfortable, does it?
No, it does not.
No. I've had to deal with that whenever the power's gone out in my house. June 30th, 2023 is still a memory that I hold dear to my life. So, yeah. Okay. But yeah. Would anybody in the audience, would you guys rather, just to, in the audience, 74.3 degrees when you on the average, you wake up at 68 degrees. Doesn't sound very fun, does it? That's kind of the general gist that we're seeing here. Yeah, Peter Moss looking at the subsurface temp anomalies. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and see. Yeah, I'll go ahead and see that. Yeah, Logan's in the audience in the call right now. Logan, if you have access to those, could you send them in the chat for me? You're on the audience. I think you can hear me. You're also tuning into the stream. So, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Logan's gonna send it in. Send it in. He's behind the scenes for right now. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, 74.3 degrees is great here in the Northeast. I'm talking about in your room. I'm talking about in your room temperature. Like, you have you don't have air conditioning pretty much. That's kind of the analogy I'm making. I hope this makes some sort of sense. Ethan, does this make some sort of sense?
Yeah, I see what you're getting at here, but keep in mind these are SSTs, so this is ocean water.
Like this is a global region that we're talking about. Like this isn't.
Yeah, I mean, 5 degrees above average. It might not seem like a big number, but when it comes to average SSTs, that is a massive amount of heat.
That can kill coral
more
reefs,
than you can
that
imagine.
Can kill fish species.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. What do I want exactly? Let's. Let's. I'm trying to think. Hold on 1 second, Ethan. If you want to add some stuff and talk a little bit while I work on some stuff behind the scenes, go for it.
Yeah. So either way, for anyone who just tuned in, I would definitely like to give you a quick summary of things. This El Nino is looking to be one of the strongest in decades, certainly comparable to 2015, 2016, or even stronger than that. And as a result, big points that we covered are going to be major atmospheric river flood threat on the West Coast, especially in California, and then the obviously the common El Nino pattern that we tend to see over the southeast and eastern U.S. of, stronger, more frequent nor'easters, severe weather across parts of Florida and the deep south. And then also, potentially the chance for much stronger, winter storms over the Midwest too.
Yeah. All right. Let's give me 1 second. I'm gonna copy this real quickly. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these temperatures. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. If this is trying to figure out if this is it or okay. I'm gonna copy this real quickly. Okay. Yep, I got the right one. All right, I got the right one. Okay. Ethan, do you see what I'm pulling up on screen right now? These are subsurface temperature anomalies. Taking a look at these. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, look at that red.
Yeah. Could you explain to the
Look at that.
let's try to explain to the audience what we're looking at right here. This is at the is this on is this in depth right here? Is this in meters right here over here on the left? And meters deep? I'm trying to think.
Hold on.
Okay, yes. Yes, it's meters. Okay, yep. Thanks, guys. I have some guys behind the scenes that are helping me out tonight, so yeah, this is in meters.
Yeah, and then these temps, this is in Celsius. So yeah, look at that, 6 plus 6 Celsius around 100 meters deep.
Yep.
And that extends way down. Like it's above average all the way down to like 400 plus.
Yeah.
So that in the East Pacific, that is ocean heat content right there. Once we get into hurricane season, which I think is definitely the next topic we're going to hit on now that we've kind of covered the synoptic implications of El Nino across the U.S. I think the tropical weather aspect of it is where we're going to start diving in.
Oh, man.
So starting with 2026. Yeah. So this upcoming hurricane season.
Here comes the debate.
That right there. Yeah, that right there is that indicates very significant ocean heat content across the EPAC basin. So we're probably going to see a hyperactive hurricane season in the East Pacific this year. Honestly, on par with like 2015, and I believe 2023 was also a hyperactive year. 2015 obviously most famously produced Hurricane Patricia.
Yes.
One of the strongest tropical cyclones in recorded history. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a hyperactive season for the East Pacific. And as Brendan was saying earlier, even places that don't normally see a lot of tropical cyclones, like Hawaii, could come under threat. And I think also certainly the west coast of Mexico and then up into Baja California definitely are places that need to watch out. I don't know if we have any viewers from those places right now, but if you are and you're watching this, definitely make sure you have your preparations in check, come August through October, because this could definitely be a very significant hurricane season for those areas.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm looking at the OHC right here. I have the map pulled up from the University of Miami. Shout out to you guys, by the way. And look at the OHC I'm seeing right here. It's very interesting, to say the very least. We're looking at some areas. We have a bit of a cold wake over here off the coast of Central America. We have other areas that are already at over 100 degrees, not 100 degrees, 100 OHC or higher. That is a situation that's only going to continue to escalate, especially if those water temperatures below the surface really start to creep up and down the line. We're going to want to pay attention to that, especially in the next few months or so, going into August and September, when hurricane season really starts picking up typically in the Eastern Pacific right here. Already a good starter package for your ocean heat content right here, Ethan. What do you say?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is definitely, things are in place for a hyperactive EPAC season. And then on the other side of things in the North Atlantic, not so much.
Oh, boy.
If you guys want to if Patrick, if you want to address that,
Oh
I think
man,
that's
we gotta
definitely
talk about.
where we can. That's definitely, I think, the direction we want to start heading next.
Yes, we got. Yes, it's
Because
time for the hurricane season debate. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what we need to talk about. We're partly going to talk 2026 in both basins, but we're also going to talk 2027 as well. Someone's telling me to check the Euro ensembles real quickly. I'm gonna check it on Weather Nerds real quickly, just to see what's going on. Let's do 12C, and I want to look at 360 hours real quickly. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about this in a second. I want to go ahead and start with a little exposition real quickly. So here's the situation: 2026 hurricane season definitely has been a bit interesting to say the very least. We had one named storm, which was Arthur, that developed off the coast of Texas. We haven't seen too much since then. With this big El Nino, we had a lot of stuff going on. There was some questions earlier in the season of how strong it would be, what it would do to the hurricane season. Colorado State University 2 days ago put out their latest forecast calling for single-digit storms, single-digit named storms. 9 named storms, 4 hurricanes, and 1 major hurricane. That's what CSU put out right there. There's been a lot of controversy on my side regarding some of this season, as well as something that might be happening in the future. What I mean by that, I mean the video I put out yesterday talking about the 2027 season. So let's go ahead and get started, Ethan. What do you want to talk about first? Let's get into the debate. Right here.
Well, we talked a little bit about the EPAC season.
Yeah.
I think definitely now would be a good time to start bringing some of our other members on the show.
We'll start
See
slowly
exactly
bringing
where
them in.
they,
Yeah.
see where their opinions stand, because I think personally this is going to be one of the least active North Atlantic hurricane seasons we've seen in a long time. Probably on par with 2013, 2014, 2015. That was a very, very inactive period there. I think some people are going to be a little surprised, and a lot of weather enthusiasts will be a little let down by this, because ever since 2017, we've really seen a lot of hyperactive seasons back to back. And this is probably going to be our first truly well below average one in a while, because even during the last significant El Nino cycle in 2023, that was a very active season. We actually had, I believe, 20 named storms, even some that impacted the U.S., like Hurricane Idalia.
Yep, I remember that all too well.
Yeah, I believe that was like one of the, if not the most active El Nino seasons ever for the North Atlantic, which was very unusual. And I think now this year though, I think is going to be a lot different. I think we're going to see a more standard El Nino pattern, where we have high shear Saharan air layer across the North Atlantic basin and the MDR. And I think that's going to really limit our development for much of the season. Right. But yeah, I would definitely be interested to hear some of our other takes on that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with Logan and Delta. Logan, I want to go ahead and start with you. What's your thoughts on what we've seen so far?
Honestly, I wouldn't say 2013 through 2015. By the way, hello everybody. I would be saying more of a 1997, in my personal opinion.
All right.
I mean, I took some stuff from earlier. I have 5 different examples I put in here, but when looking at all of these examples and how this season's playing out,
okay,
and the El Nino pattern altogether, it's almost following an exact replica copy of 1997, but more extreme due to climate change. And also, before we do end off tonight, though, me, Trevor, and LT do want you to try and take a look at the climate prediction outlook for the El Nino for the winter into the spring, when you get a chance.
Yeah, we'll do that towards the very end. Let's get into more of the debate.
Yep. All right.
Go ahead.
Anyways, getting back to that. This is following more of a 1997 approach, in my opinion, just given how even the thermocline is the same situation in both seasons. Very similar, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's telling me that this hurricane season into next year is going to kind of repeat 1997 into 1998, but more active in both seasons because the Atlantic is warmer. You got more instability because I've actually been starting a little bit of research on this ever since you brought this up.
Right.
But that thermal gradient in the subtropics and the thermal gradient off of Cabo Verde.
Yep.
So for now,
Let me go ahead and
like
pull those up.
we're probably going to see 2015 numbers, but I would compare this to 1997 in terms of structure globally.
Okay, cool. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can pull up. Oh, I have the. Let me see if I can pull it up real quickly. I'm trying to find those water temperatures once again. Okay, I'll just use this. Go to North Atlantic and pull this up. All right, Logan. Thank you very much. Delta, what's your thoughts on what we've seen so far? By the way, welcome back to the stream. I haven't seen you. I haven't talked to you in almost a year at this current point. Welcome back to the show. This is your first appearance on the Triple P show, by the way.
Yep, thanks for having me, Pat. Yeah, this year is by far of all the years I haven't been of all the years that I have followed tropical weather. This is shaping up to be, I would say, not this the strangest, but also the most anemic.
Yeah.
Just due to the super strong El Nino. Like some models are showing 100-mile-per-hour shear in the
Jeez.
Caribbean. That will absolutely just shred anything that tries to going through there. You have your thermal gradient in your water temperatures, which is not conducive for really any sufficient MDR development. This year, it looks to be almost a record quiet year.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
All right. Okay. Okay. Who else do we have in here? LTW, you're on the air. You've been on the air for a little while. Go ahead and give your take. I'm gonna bring Trevor in real quickly, so that way he can give his take in just a second. But LTW, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to point out first that if you look on the SST temps
Yeah.
or the SST anomalies
Mhm.
in the Atlantic, you could see a Atlantic Niña developing.
Oh, I'm seeing. Yep, I know what you're talking about. I see what you're
Yeah,
looking at.
so that could limit a lot of stuff that could form in the Atlantic. And I was also taking a look at some of the global models on shear, and all of them are going nuts with the shear in the MDR and
Okay.
especially the Caribbean.
Let's see. Let me pull it up. Here's the
It's
wind chart.
200 to 850. Yeah,
Yeah, I got it. Yep,
that
go
one.
ahead.
Yeah. So if you even if you go all the way through, you could see that the basically it's just closed off.
Yeah, the Caribbean's closed off. The MDR is starting to open up a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah.
it just keeps reinforcing from what I'm seeing.
You could also take a look at Euro, CMC. They all basically show the same thing.
Oh, yeah, it's mainly closed off in the Caribbean, I'm noticing. Let's see. Let's go ahead and look at this. Yeah, it's mainly
Yeah.
closed off in the Caribbean, but MDR is a bit of a wild card now. The main problem is the Sahara air layer now at that
Mhm.
point. But yeah, go ahead. Do you have anything else you wanted to add real quickly?
I would also like to mention that on satellite, I saw a bunch of dry air off of um the yeah, a bunch of dry air off of Africa
Yeah.
moving into the MDR.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. That's where the ITCZ
Mhm.
is supposed to be.
Mhm. Yup. That's all.
Yeah. All right. All right, let me see. Is he on here? Yes, Trevor, you're on the air. What's your take so far?
Oh, sorry about that. I was away.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
My takes on this. Well, I don't think SST is going to win.
This ain't 2023.
And then 2023, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if this El Nino gets more stronger, it's going to suppress it.
All right.
Not only that, but there's also 100 mile per hour wind shears out in the
Yeah, we
Caribbean this
talked
week.
about that. Wonder if I can find
Hey,
that
Pat.
cyclone. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to say hi.
Wait, what's going on?
I just wanted to say hi, and I wanted to add something if that's okay.
Trevor, go ahead and finish your point, and we'll let Braden talk. By the way, you're on the air.
I think El Nino is going to suspend everything.
For 2026,
Going to cause a very hectic weather pattern for our winter.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's our wind shear. Okay, yeah, I got pulled up on Cyclonic WX. All right, Braden, you're on the air. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are I was listening on the part where that you were saying about the the hurricane season next year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the CanSIPS model,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows that we'll have a lot of above average temperatures, a lot
Our
of
temperatures in the
really warm
Atlantic.
temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to talk about 2026 right now. Go ahead, Ethan. What's up? You wanted to say something? Go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. We'll talk about 2027 in a little bit. But yeah, looking at this right here, I'm looking at Cyclonic WX. This is in knots of shear right here. This is exceeding 60 knots right here, all the way through in much of the Caribbean. Holy hell. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to take a look at. But yeah, anyway, so that's what we have going on right here. Another thing we need to take into account as well is is what's going on with the Sahara air layer. Ethan, you've been looking at it. I know a lot of our Florida people have been looking at it as well. Apparently, from what we've seen, this is the worst we've seen in years.
Yeah, we have a very apparently there's a lot of there's a pretty major area of Saharan air layer currently over the MDR.
Yeah.
And people in South Florida have been complaining about it. It's very dry, very dusty. And actually what's interesting is South Florida saw some pretty significant storms earlier today. And apparently that helped, the Saharan air layer helped to dry out some of the mid-levels that might have contributed to some strong downburst winds.
Yeah, I know
in that
Nasda's
region.
weather was talking about that. He was covering that at his new job, so yeah.
Yeah, because we had some people who were impacted by that today, like T-Vold and others.
Yep. That's for sure. But yeah, that's our Sahara air layer over there. All right, so what's up,
Would like to
LTW?
mention something.
Go ahead.
When you talked about like the storms, I'm literally currently in a thunderstorm right now.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not fantastic.
So hopefully I don't lose power. I probably won't, but yeah,
for sure.
I'll be fine.
I'll tell you, this would be a lot worse if I lost power when I'm streaming than it was for you. That actually happened on the March 14th stream last year, so yeah.
The infamous March 14th stream.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a retrospective of that at some point. Anyway, let's get back into this. So someone in the chat was talking to me about this. They're wanting me to take a look at some of the European ensembles that we have going on in the Atlantic, and I just want to look at this. I want to see what's going on here, and I want everybody's perspective here. on some of this. First, the question I have for you guys is this area my cursor is pointing at in the subtropical Atlantic. Tropical, tropical, subtropical, or mid-latitude? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think it's just noise.
All
But
right.
if anything, it would be very much mid latitude, just given the location. Those waters are about 24 degrees Celsius or cooler, and the fact that the winds aren't extremely strong or pressures aren't extremely low tells
Yeah.
me it's not trying to use water as a fuel source. It's trying to use baroclinic forcing.
Yep.
So your low pressure over the water will be weaker because baroclinic forcing is stronger usually over land
Right.
per se. So that tells me that this is very much mid latitude, if not noise that the model is producing,
All right.
in my personal opinion.
All right. Who
I
wants?
would
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Delta.
I would say 50% noise, 40% chance that it's a mid latitude, but I would say there's about probably a 10% chance that you could get a little subtropical spin up if that's say
I would
location
agree.
or something.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would say so too.
All right. Who else wants to go? Okay. Cool. Ethan, do you want to say anything or no?
I don't have anything right now to add to
All right,
that.
fantastic. All right, so that business is kind of out of the way. Me personally, I'm thinking some of this is this has to be. I'm more so thinking this is baroclinic forcing, and more so mid latitude based. But I'm not gonna rule it out entirely. I just don't. I'll have to see what happens with that for sure. But we also have this business going on over here off the coast of Africa, right here, ladies and gentlemen. We see a bunch of noise going on over here from a tropical wave that's expected to emerge in the next few days. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this real quickly. We're going to zoom in on this a little bit better. I will click that. Perfect. This is what we have going on right off the coast of Africa as a tropical wave is emerging off. Already seeing the European absolutely kind of liking this right here, although it remains relatively weak. Let's go ahead and go add an extra day out. Based on what we're seeing right here, definitely, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it over to callers, and I want their perspective on what we're seeing right here. Do you guys? I'm thinking personally there might be something here, but if it is, it's short lived. Otherwise, it's noise. What are your thoughts?
I would say it's too soon to tell, in
Okay.
my personal opinion, because granted, it's 144 hours out from what I'm seeing.
Yep.
There's so much that can happen in the short period of time that can make or break this kind of systems development.
Right.
My first thoughts actually go to something that I talked to with Tristan with Barrel a while back, and how that was a rare situation where it moved around dry air, which is just an example of how a storm can be lucky in the situation.
Yeah, Barrel had the perfect
It's going to sink or
combination.
swim. Yep. Either your storm's going to be lucky, or you're going to get something like a tropical storm Jerry, which was further out, granted, into the, or actually better yet, Aaron. The first half of Aaron, it struggled to develop because of dry air over the main development region over the Cabo Verde, which is very common for this time of the year and very much expected. So that too is why I say it's too soon to tell, because dry air can move so rapidly in a few days. Because we didn't expect dry air in Jerry, for example. So too soon to tell, in my opinion. That's my final standing.
All right. All right. What are your okay? All right. Who else would like to go?
I would like to go.
All right, Braden. Go ahead.
I would like to say that if they were going to form, they probably wouldn't form that much because there's a bunch of dry air and a new plume coming off of Africa. So I would say since there's a lot of strong dry air and stuff.
Yeah. Someone in chat said it could be like 91L from last year. If we see another 60-90 not develop in like what we saw last year, holy hell. That was okay. Yeah. Yeah, Delta, Ethan, you guys remember the infamous 91L incident from last year on mine and Weather Kingdom streams, right? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Yeah, if that were to fucking happen, I would not be too happy. And yes, I used one of the 2 curse words right there. Yeah, I would not be happy just because.
I would crack up.
Yeah, I would be. Yeah, I'd flip out. Not necessarily because, not for the reason I'm sure some people would expect. I would just flip out because, are you kidding me? This happened again. This happened again. But yeah, okay. Who else wants to go in regards to this to this little business? What's up?
My power just flickered. That's why I wasn't in the call.
Oh,
Just letting you know. Yeah,
okay. Who's?
I just fully lost power.
If you lose power, LT, I'll fill you in later if needed.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I would say, if anything tries to get developed, it is going to have a mountain of negatives that are going against it, because pretty much at this point, unless the models and the environment change to give it like a small localized window of lesser dry air, lesser wind shear, it's probably not going to last long if it even develops at all.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Who else wants to go? All right. Cool. Oh,
I could go.
go ahead, LTW.
I just think I'm not ruling it out, but the possibilities of that are just. How far is that?
This is
How
5
far
days
is
out.
that?
This is 5 days out.
I'm just being a bit cautious because once again, that Saharan lay. I can't speak. That Saharan layer. You know what? I'm just gonna say. We'll just shred the system.
Yeah.
And shear would finish the job.
Yeah, I want to take a look at the dry air aspect of this real quickly. Here's our relative humidity.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, we have a
It
bit
is
of a moisture
so
injection.
dry.
Yeah, there's a lot of dry air right here. You do have a moisture injection going on in the next 3 to 4 days. But then as the system starts to move out over here, by the time we get to 5 days out, there's actually a good moisture pocket. The problem is it's surrounded by dry air. What's the shear aspect of this going to be? Real quickly. The European is interesting. It's interesting. There's shear to the south. It's in a moisture pocket. Okay. We're going to have to wait and see how this goes. I don't think we're going to see much out of it, but you never know. So, yeah, I just looked at that. I'm like, holy crap, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Delta's like up to 10%. It was at 5%, up to 10%. I'll split the difference and say 7.5, in my opinion. Oof.
I give development like a 2% chance, if I'm honest with you. That just
I'm
doesn't
far
look
too liberal.
well.
I'm far too liberal on this.
Yeah, can I point out something real quick, guys?
Go for
That's
Go for it, Logan,
Yeah,
then we'll switch over to Delta.
okay.
I've noticed that usually when you see dry air, usually that's a sign that there is actually going to be shear nearby. So I don't know why the European did that.
Yeah.
But I've always noticed that dry air is more common in a sheared environment than a non-sheared environment.
1 bajillion%.
So that's just stacked against the storm completely. In dry air and personal perspective, kills a storm more than wind shear does, because a storm can easily vertically align again.
Mm-hmm.
But a storm can't recover convection that gets dried out and just disappears. That is harder to recover. And that's why I'm giving it a 2% chance. I would say none, but never say never.
Fair enough. Delta, go ahead.
The 10% was basically any kind of potential development.
Mm-hmm.
Actual tropical genesis or development is, like I said, about like what Cert Tropic was saying, was like 2% or less.
Fair enough. Any other takers? I guess not. All right, cool. So at least that's out of the way. We can kind of ignore this business that the European's showing. Matter of fact, I want to check and see what other models are showing. What's the GFS showing? Okay, the GFS is showing a weak low pressure system over there. Similar time frame as well. Definitely interesting. The main things I want to look at, what's the FNV3 going for? Absolutely F all nothing. The GNC, yeah. The AI runs are showing nothing with this. And those were the ones that got 91L hammered in the nail. So, yeah, given the conditions, I'm more inclined to trust them tonight. We're not going to, like, yes, the old guards are definitely, can be very reliable. But for right now, I'm not seeing too much. That's just my opinion. But never say never. So that's that out of the way. Let's see, what else do we? What other shenanigans does the European bring up? Oh, that's the Euro AI. I believe it's the AI run. That's the ECNS right here. Let's go ahead and go to 360. Hold on, guys. Can we? You guys seeing what I'm seeing? Can we?
Yes. That's that what
Mhm.
9 oh that's 965 millibar system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and
Oh, I
LT
think we saw
discussed this
this
earlier
one.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the definition of. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh yeah. It's like. Oh yeah. It's like that one scene from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Hey, do you allow us in here swear words too or no?
I go for we got. I already used one of them. Go for. If you want to use the other, go for it. We got.
I call this type of situation bullshit. This one singular model plus one singular low pressure of 1,015 millibars out of nowhere with nothing else around it, no other signal, nothing that is likely to survive out there. I'm just calling bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm saying nothing ever happens.
Yeah. Not like that, at least.
Yeah, that low
We're
pressure
not
is
getting
tweaking.
another Hugo/Dorian.
Can rest in. I'm just gonna go ahead and say rest in peace, Bozo, right here. Rest in peace, Bozo.
I got drunk.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I don't drink alcohol, folks. This right here is why you should not drink alcohol. This is your.
VFS on weed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cops called. Cops called. Oh man, if Ian is here, I know he'd love that. I'm sure if you watch the stream back. Okay, all right. Okay, we do have a question. Someone wants to ask. I'll go ahead and bring him in. Okay, how do I introduce you?
You can just introduce me as Jackson.
All right, Jackson, you're on the air.
All right, so when this El Nino ultimately comes to an end, do you think that we're going to have a resurgence in a La Nina that is extremely aggressive, or even a triple dip La Nina?
Let's go ahead and you guys want. I feel like this is the perfect segue to talk about this. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think
All
we
right.
can start talking about that.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go ahead and pivot over to our models. Let's go ahead and go to climate. We're going to use the CANSIPs right here. I talked about this in yesterday's video. We're going to go ahead and pull this up. Let's go ahead and start with our SST anomalies. So we got to break this down real quickly. Hi, Rebel. I see you. I can tell you jumped off my bed. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. Frenchy business over here. Hey, come here, Rebel. Come here, Rebel. Do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see Rebel? We're gonna. Do you guys want? Do you guys want another guest appearance?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah. We always have time for animals on this show.
Yeah. Hey, Rebel. Say hello to the audience, Rebel. She is loud. Okay. Like and subscribe for like and subscribe for Rebel. Oh, she's squirming a little bit. Oh,
Yep.
she's being really sweet tonight. Yeah, like and subscribe for Rebel. All right. Hey, Rebs. I love you. Oh, all right, here you go. Okay, animal break.
Can we all
Animal.
get a collective aw and a gasp in chat, guys?
Yeah.
For animal love and support, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Animal break over. Hey, Rebel. Hey, I'll be. Hey, if you need anything, just let me know. All right. Cool. All right. All right. Cool. She's just gonna stand by my chair for a little while. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get into this. Sorry for the interruption. I can't say no to my dogs, guys. I can't say no to them. Ethan knows it all too well. So, all right.
Yeah, I've met those dogs before.
Yeah, you've met my dogs. Let's go ahead and
Yep.
let's go ahead and talk about this because I'm sure people are getting bored. All right, let's go ahead and get going. Here's what we have: El Nino, from what I'm seeing in the CanSips, forecast to peak either in November or December. Like, I'm trying to think, guys. Are we thinking? I'm trying to see if I can find a definitive peak here. October, November, December. Which let me zoom in on this. October, November, December. Which would you consider the peak?
I think November.
November.
October.
I would say
I
November.
agree.
I would say November.
Switch between the three real quick.
Here's October. Here's
Yep.
November. Here's
Mhm.
December. 1 in the chat for October, 2 for November, 3 for December. 1
If
for
we're basing
October,
this off
2
the
for November, 3 for
3.4,
December.
If we're basing us off the 3.4, I'd actually say December.
Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so
I would
we're getting 2s and
say
3s.
November because that's the farthest west the El Nino tongue sticks
Mm-hmm.
reaches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. Yes. All right. Cool. So that's out of the way. We also have region 3.4 is concerned. That's going to be in December. Cool. So we got that out of the way. Reason I'm bringing this up is because after this point, we start to go down a little bit. We stagnate around December or so. January is when the first signs of it not being so intense happen, and you can really start seeing that, especially going into February. But watch off the coast of the Galapagos Islands over here. Already a pretty significant dip in the temperatures going into March, April, May, June.
Yup.
That is an emerging
Yup.
La Nina, folks.
Pat.
Yep.
This does relate to the Nina.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back up to like the isothermic temperature, like the subsurface.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
You
pull
mean
this up.
thermocline?
Yep.
Yeah, the
I got.
thermocline.
Is this it right here,
Look-
LTW? All right, go ahead.
Look to the look to the left.
Yeah,
You
that's
see that?
that's our cold anomalies right there.
No, that's the developing La Nina.
That's actually something that me and LT have been talking about
Yeah,
for a while
this
now.
is
Go ahead and talk.
scaring
Go ahead and
me.
bring it up to the audience. Then go ahead and describe what we're seeing.
So basically, this. Actually, do you want to explain what this is?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I'm probably
Logan.
better for this. Okay, so normally what you see, so I'm going to talk about a La Nina pattern first. What you'll typically see is in the back half of the thermocline, you'll see positive anomalies build up and cold anomalies where there's warm anomalies out in the front. In an El Nino, what you're seeing here is an El Nino's typical thermocline pattern where your warmer waters are out in the front half of your thermocline and your cooler waters start to develop in the back half. What I'm noticing is that the cooler waters that are already developing now,
Mm-hmm.
plus the upwelling that these tropical cyclones over in the West Pacific are doing, have recently caused, Bavi, Makala,
Yeah.
Jangmi, and Laku, all of those, while they cause westerly wind bursts for your Nino 1+2 region to emerge with warm waters, they also cool your Nino 3 or your 4 region in the far western reaches of your 4 region, which will be also building in a La Nina like effect later on. So I've been saying that an Enzo neutral, negative neutral into a La Nina is almost guaranteed, in my opinion, if this keeps up the way it is.
Yeah.
And basically, what I'm seeing here is even with downwelling Kelvin waves, which usually right about where you see the border of your warm and cold temperatures, that's where your downbursts have been occurring and going towards your surface. And just to say,
Yeah. Yeah, Catman
anyways, as I
WX
was saying,
in chat is saying Nino 4 region gets cold usually with big El Niños.
yes, that is true, and that's why a lot of your big El Ninos, like your 1997, trash.
Yeah.
The only exception was the 2014 into 2015 and 2018 into 2019. However, those were weaker El Ninos that either a weak El Nino that went into a stronger El Nino or
Mhm.
two El Ninos of relatively similar strength in
Yeah.
which that difference did not matter. But yeah, that's why I'm saying that this El Nino, most likely, I give it an 85% chance it is going to crash in the next year.
All right.
Anyways, I'll be back, guys.
All right, Logan, thank you very much.
And
Go ahead, LTW.
if we go back to the CANSIPS model,
Yep.
go back to April.
Here's April.
Look, why don't you look at, center yourself onto the Atlantic
All right.
and then move forward to the end.
Yeah, I did this in my video yesterday.
Yeah, that is
That is a
that
problem.
looks really, yeah. I
Just a heads up, I am back.
Hey, Logan.
Okay. And oh boy, it's gonna be really bad.
Yeah, that's
This-
really that's what I was talking about earlier. The where in the Caribbean, it's a lot more like the extreme red is like down by South or I
South
forget what
America,
that is.
yeah.
South America.
Yeah, that's Colombia and Venezuela. Yeah, that's gonna
As
be a
I-
problem. What's up?
I want to
Go ahead,
say
Trevor.
this is going to be a good case for this.
All right.
Worst case scenario is that the Atlantic is going. It could do something worse, or have a hyperactive season.
Mhm.
You
Can I
think?
add on to that real quick, if you don't mind, guys?
Go for it.
So if this is actually building off of your most recent video, but if less storms occur this year, which seems to be likely, given the fact that even Colorado State just decreased their named storms expected from 13 at the beginning of this season to 9. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
You're
Also,
not
I'm
wrong.
also
Hold on,
noticing
let
too.
Logan finish, LT.
I'm gonna send these back in chat again
All right.
for you to look at, Pat.
Are these the
I'm noticing what I
anomalies?
think may be a marine heat wave going on, because in a week the waters over in the East Atlantic have been warming substantially, as well as in
Whoa.
the Caribbean and the Gulf of America, spreading along in the
Let me show
subtropics,
the
and
chat
the
this.
Atlantic
Let me show
Nina
audience
is
this.
weakening.
All right. Go ahead. All right. Let me show everybody this real quickly. Go ahead and okay, yeah, I'm seeing what you're looking at, especially off the coast of Africa. This also has to deal with the fact that Europe had a massive heat wave as well. It was just finishing up with it too. At least what's going
Not to
on in the
mention
northern
us
parts.
last week too.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the Cabo Verde Islands. It went from somewhat below average to above average. Holy crap.
Yeah,
It's still
that and the weakening Atlantic Nina
Mhm.
have me concerned that chances of development may increase. Not with this particular storm, by the way, so I don't counteract my
but you're saying
point
down the
here.
line.
Yes, down the line, like end of July, early August. I think for once we're actually going to have a pattern where August is going to be active, because the last 3 hurricane seasons, 2023 had something, but our Augusts have been unusually quiet.
Aaron,
And I say that as I knock
Aaron,
on
last year.
wood. Yeah, that was one example, yes. While that was mostly out to sea, that was like the first attempt to like really emerge into like a more active August. I'm saying in like in terms of like what you typically see in a
Yeah.
season, because in August you typically see 3 to 4 storms. Lately, it's been like 1 to 2, and it's just been really a mystery to me actually why August has been on the decline ever since 2021 actually, because 2022 didn't even have anything, I don't think, in August
No, it
either.
didn't.
Yeah, actually, so I should say since 2022. So really, this has been an extreme mystery, and it's got me wondering if this pattern is going to break, and if August might actually do something, and if this marine heat wave, which I definitely call that a marine heat wave, right, Pat? Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, with a marine heat wave like this, we could be unexpectedly shown a season that is resilient, and we could see some unexpected flare this season. We could all be underestimating this season for all we know.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. There's a few things that need to be fixed before I can jump on that trend. Number one, this cold blob over here in the MDR, that needs to get addressed. That needs to get fixed up over here. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Second thing, the Sahara air layer needs to get pushed into Europe a lot more than it is now. It was starting to for a little bit, and then it started just ramping back up in the tropics last week. That needs to happen sooner rather than later for me to buy that. Also, the El Nino needs to slow down in order for me to buy that. I don't think we're going to see that. So that plays into the strengthening of the trade winds right there. That Caribbean blob of shear has to be, I'd say, in the next 2 weeks, it needs to be forecasted to at least cut in half before I can buy that. That's just my opinion on it. In the next 2 weeks,
I should say unexpected is in like latter half of the season.
Yeah,
and like I don't mean like in a crazy active season like 2023.
Sure.
I just mean something unexpected, like something potentially strong or a little bit more activity than we're all thinking, and maybe
So
the
you're
season
saying,
somehow goes close
so
to
you're
average
kind of
in the end.
sorry to cut you off. So you're kind of thinking along the lines of me, but maybe there's the storms that do develop have more power than expected. That's kind of my stance on this for right now. Is that kind of the take you're going with?
Yes, essentially.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I believe a hotspot, if a stronger system during this season is going to form, is either going to be the subtropics by Bermuda, or it's going to be when the Gulf has a period of lesser shear and lesser dry air.
Yeah.
I would also agree that the Gulf.
Yeah, there's also we also have to deal with sinking air as well too. We have to watch that. So that's also another factor. One thing, let's see. I hate being that guy because I know Alex is gonna fucking roast me. Yes, I've eclipsed the limit. Alex is gonna roast me for this. We also have to watch the gyre as well. I want to see. We also have to watch that. Although, given the Caribbean Gaulish shear that we're dealing with over there, that it's gonna have to move out of the Western Caribbean for anything to happen. So, yeah.
The only real way you would need to have the shear at least drop off by half in the Caribbean.
Exactly.
And you also understand for the audience that the gyre can also form Eastern Pacific systems instead of Gulf or Caribbean systems.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I want to check the Climate Prediction Center real quick.
So you can have an active gyre, but it would favor more of the Eastern Pacific for tropical genesis due to the better conditions overall.
There was a time, like a little bit
Okay.
ago, that the that in the Pacific there was a chance that it might cross over into the Gulf.
When was
That
that?
has the possibility of happening too.
That happened with Arthur. It also happened with Alex in 2022. That isn't. It's not
Milton?
impossible, but it takes a lot of things to go right for it to happen. We'll have to see what happens for sure. But in my opinion, but yeah, same with Cristobal as well. I remember that too.
Yes.
Yeah, we are dealing with quite a bit, quite a bit, quite a bit. Yeah, Delta, you're talking Milton too. In
Also,
chat.
Pat, another thing too,
Mm-hmm.
another good caveat I'm noticing too
Yep.
is actually the Pacific Meridional mode. Because
Oh.
now I have a theory with how warm it's been. Because warmer waters, I notice, like to push the jet stream north per se,
Sure.
and that's why you get a low pressure and a jet stream kind of moves around it. And that has me wondering if the Pacific Meridional waters, which have had record levels this year, might be warm enough to push the jet stream further to the north and have some influence over the Atlantic, whether it causes more meridional flow, weakening later on in the season. I shouldn't say now, but rather later on in the last half of the season. Kind of like a Madoki effect, but not from a Madoki, because a Madoki is totally different. You need negative temperatures in the 1+2
enough.
region, which is going to happen. But anyways, back to the PMM. I think if that can get warm enough, specifically around California, and force basically a ridge over the California regions and kind of create a trough and then a ridge into the Atlantic, that might be able to allow some pockets of development when the PMM is strong enough to counteract some of the El Nino's effects, because normally the warm waters aren't supposed to be in the PMM like it's been.
Sure.
Normally that is because all the warm waters are concentrated along an El Nino, and vice versa, concentrated away in a La Nina.
Yep.
So that has me saying that it could do something, and the PDO as well, but the PDO is less significant.
All right.
Anyways,
All
that's
right.
all my thoughts at the moment.
Okay. All right. That's all right. How real? Okay. I want to turn this over to all the other callers in here. If you guys know about this, how realistic do you think of a scenario that could be? How realistic? Any takers? Okay, Earth Central's saying not ruling it out. We already have a lot of people in the call right now. Let's see. We gotta figure some stuff out. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All
You
right.
can never rule out Eastern Pacific remnant crossing over to instigate an Atlantic basin tropical genesis. But but most of the time when it comes to a crossover, it's not just the entity that's crossing over that can lead to it. You need to have a favorable environment for it to genesis in the first place. But like with Milton, it was maybe a third of it was a combination. There was also a tropical wave that was coming from the Northwest Caribbean that was interacting with it.
All right.
And so it's not just a crossover that can form it, but you can never rule it out.
For sure. All right. Thank you very much. All right, Ethan. Is there anything else in this? Is there anything else in this debate that we want to go over?
I'm trying to think. We could definitely talk more about maybe the East Pack, and then also, maybe impacts that we would see in places like Hawaii.
Oh yeah, Brendan
between
was talking
2026 and 2027. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and trying to see. All right, let's go ahead and pull that up then. Let's go ahead and go to ocean analysis. I want to go to the central pack real quick. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. This is interesting. We looked at this a little earlier. You don't typically see water temperatures like this in Hawaii. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not. The whole Pacific, the East and Central Pacific, are both record levels right now, especially the East Pacific.
Yeah.
hmm
That's near hurricane temperatures right there.
Yeah.
Not
Yep,
fun.
and like just to say to the audience, usually what we mean by looking at this chart for temperature, anything 27 degrees Celsius and above, or the yellow, or more redder than the yellow,
Yeah.
is considered conducive to sustaining a tropical system or a hurricane.
Yeah.
Pat,
Yep.
you may want to take a look at this.
What do we got?
I'm saying into live stage,
Oh, this is
live stream.
this is the anomalies.
Yeah, for the central.
This is absolutely not
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's I could say confidently that we could maybe see a 2015 type Central Pacific.
Yeah, that's not fantastic at all.
Hey Pat, quick question for you actually.
Yeah, what's up?
Can we show them a forecast I actually did in the early season that is still holding with confidence for a reference for the East and Central Pacific?
Yeah, send it in. Send it in.
Yeah, I'll send it in so you can.
Yeah, send it in, Logan. We'll go ahead and do that.
Oh yeah, another thing to note. I know this is we're talking about the Central Pacific, but the Eastern Pacific already has almost above 32 Celsius wars off the coast of Mexico.
Yeah, those have been there for a little while though.
I know, but that's still scary. What could
My
happen in
forecast has
like
been sent in.
October?
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot. Those are huge numbers.
All right, Logan, go ahead and give us the analysis.
Okay, so I did this back in like May. However, the only reason I keep it is because I still believe that this is gonna hold true. Basically, I looked at the pattern, climate, and all that in past years, and just the environment altogether. And I gotta say, 2026 has probably one of the highest ceilings possible in both the East and Central Pacific I've seen in many years. I mean, either way, I'm giving it a near 100% chance of above average activity, evident by the fact that I think the lowest amount of storms we're going to see is 17, and the highest amount will be 25 in the East Pacific. Then with Central Pacific, I'm saying 4 to 8, just because I don't know what's going to happen and if all the storms are going to form in the East Pacific or not. Whether I start seeing more activity focused towards the Central Pacific instead might shift those numbers. But in
Yeah.
a proper standpoint, you could be looking at anywhere between 21 to 30, 32 named storms altogether. I should say, too, with all that, is that with waters being so warm, the hurricanes and major hurricane potential is going to be just absolutely bonkers. And then, of course, with the El Nino, which has gotten stronger than I have even expected, is just going to further give fuel because while it makes the water, the area like have rising motion and more moist and wet conditions over your East Pacific regions, typically your waters don't stay warm in your PMM or your Pacific Meridional mode, for those who don't know what the PMM is, or over Hawaii, because that's a little further north and it's kind of a mixed bag. But considering that those two regions have been extremely warm and that the MJO seems to like to favor the East Pacific this year so far too, this season just has an extreme ceiling. And I'm debating even increasing my season's forecast depending on how this month goes for both the Central and Eastern Pacific, which I will have on July 30th, actually. And I'll actually have a Atlantic update on the 15th that I have to work on. Of course, graphics unfortunately aren't working anymore because my computer decided to crap the bed. But
That's
yes.
unfortunate. All right, cool. Thank you very much. All right, does anybody want to call in? I know Earth Central wants to. We'll have him on for a couple of minutes. What's up?
Pat, check your DMs for me.
Yeah, I saw Trevor. Do you want me to go ahead and do it right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm gonna explain my reasonings for these these events. So
Okay, so first
obviously
off, what are we reading right here, and what do we want to look at?
that's the worldwide. If you scroll, you should see Atlantic down there.
Okay, that's
So move your mouse down to the sheet bottom portion.
Oh, I see it. Yep, Atlantic season. All right. Is this it?
This is it. So one of the events that you should take notice of 1877 event.
1877. Okay.
I'm
guessing this is just
the
what's okay. Before we get started,
So-
what are we doing this for, and like what are we using this?
compare. So basically, what I'm doing over here is I'm comparing every single
Um,
super annual we've had. 1877. If you notice, there's less storms compared to the 1878 year, where there's a lot more storms. And I believe why is because we were going into transferring over into, I want to say, El Nino to a La Nino during that year.
All right.
Another year, 1892 to 93.
Yep.
That is like how many pages?
92 to 93.
Yes.
All right.
That is 16,000 pages down the sheet.
Yeah, which all right, Trevor, I know you did a lot of work on this, and this is really good for me to look at later, but what 3 ones stand out to you the most? I think we can hone in on those.
What? 79, 78, and 2014, 2016.
Okay, 79, 78. This is 1979.
1997.
Okay, 1997 and 20. Okay, let's go to 1997. Oh, yeah.
You could compare them. More if a super El Nino comes in, it's less storms. If a non El Nino comes in, it's more.
Yeah.
The 2014 and 2016, it's another example.
2015, yeah. 2014 had a lot of power with it.
Had a lot of power, but less storms.
Yeah. And then you had 2015, then 2016, where you had a lot of storms. Matthew, and then Nicole. You also had Otto in. Yeah,
I get. Also, do the 23, 24 year. That's also another good example of more. We've had more storms that year.
Yeah.
Due to a dying one.
Yep. Holy hell. All right, Trevor, thank you very much for showing me that. Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about with that? With that?
What I'm basically just trying to say is the more storms a super El Nino causes, or the less storms in the Atlantic, the more storms they're going to cause the next year.
So we should be watching that for maybe 2027, potentially.
Basically, yes.
Okay, cool. All right, Earth Central, you're calling in. You're on the air. What's up? Okay, you're trying to pull up your camera. It's not working right now. All right. Okay, yes, potentially severe weather going on. We'll see if he gets that fixed. But if there's anyone in the chat that would like to call in to the stream tonight, join the Storms Unite Discord server. The link to that is in the pinned chat. Go ahead and do that. I'll let you guys in, and then we'll get that. And then you can come to the live stream stage, raise your hand, and call in. We're gonna open the floor, take some questions, and kind of start to wind down a
I
little bit.
also have a situation I do got to bring up that is not. I
Oh,
do
Earth Central's
apologize,
on.
it's
Go
not
ahead.
in- yeah, I do apologize. It's not currently a topic. I currently have severe weather ongoing with apparently flash flood warnings on top of it. So I
Yikes.
just have my cam on, so in case anything happens. Yeah, I was not planning on this happening during this, but
Okay.
it's Kansas.
All right. Cool. All right. Cool. Thank you. All right, Earth Central. Just keep us updated. Make sure you stay safe. But yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone in the stream wants to call in, join the Storms Unite Discord server. Also, like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. If you want to support the channel and the show any way you can, all forms are accepted. But
But I
anyway,
do have something to say on the El Nino
go for
and a
it.
couple
Go
things
for it,
that
boss.
may strengthen it.
Go ahead.
So I've been keeping an eye on some tropical volcanoes that have been acting up lately, mainly
Oh, boy.
Krakatoa. And I did look into it. Apparently, major volcanic activity can lead to strengthening or even trigger El Ninos. So I'm wondering if Krakatoa pulls some 1883 type eruption. I'm not expecting it to, or some
No.
other volcano pulls some crazy activity. If it may strengthen the ongoing El Nino.
We'll see what happens with that for sure.
So.
Yeah, thanks Earth Central for bringing that up. All right, cool. So we have okay, cool. So yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, cool. So we have covered a lot. Okay, so someone's in the holding room. Okay, all right, let me go ahead and add him on real quickly. Go ahead and here you go. Go ahead and join the live stream stage. All right. Let's go ahead and bring him on.
I have
Real-
something I would like to say, if that's
Um,
okay with you, Pat.
Go for it very quickly.
I have a YouTube channel about weather. I
Mhm.
do the weather. I was hoping you guys would subscribe. Storm Chaser
Which
Braden.
your Storm Chase? Could you send your channel link in the description? Send your channel link either in chat or here or on the YouTube.
I'm kind of young. I'm 16.
Okay. All right.
Don't know if
Well, just go.
that.
If you want us to promote it, sir, you go ahead and just put your channel link in the description. Not in the description. Put your channel link in the chat. We'll
Okay.
boost it for you. Anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyway, Chicken Man, you're on the
Me
air.
or other people?
Oh, yeah, Chicken Man, you're on the
I
air.
could do that.
Yo, wait,
I
hold on, hold on.
would if the laptop wasn't covered in freaking water.
What's okay? Is Earth Central? Okay. All right, Chicken Man, you're on the air.
All right, wait. I just wanted to say one thing, all right?
All right.
Look, I may not be good at weather, but I could say this. All right, after like 5 years of just living in South Florida,
Yeah.
I think from looking at the CFS, you have to look at the CFS long term,
Mm-hmm.
and just after, I think this year there's gonna be a huge pulse because, like the other guy was saying with the wave, like the heat wave of water coming off the coast.
Yeah.
I think next year, this already happened, but like I think next year there's gonna be a huge resurgence, and there's just gonna be crazy, crazy amounts of heat in the water. I think, me personally, I think next year it may be a repeat of '05. I sound crazy right now, but trust me.
I was kind of
No,
thinking that.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I was kind of thinking that today.
All
I
right.
think maybe
Yep, I would
probably
agree
close
with
to
that.
2020 again.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe not that far.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
speculate on explosive hurricane. I don't want to speculate on that just yet. I want more data first. I want to see what happens in the next couple of months before I lean towards that direction. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Here is Storm Chaser Braden's channel link, by the way. It is in this chat. Go ahead and subscribe to it if you haven't already. Callers, it's in the chat. It's in our live stream chat. Go ahead and subscribe to it if you haven't. I'm going to go ahead and do it myself. Go ahead and slap that subscribe button right there. for everybody. So yeah. All right. What's up, LTW?
Thank you, Pat.
No problem.
I just want to say, also as a Florida man, living in South Florida, for this winter, I feel like I could maybe see like a solid dip in temperature, maybe enhance severe weather, because that's kind of like what El Ninos, they kind of lower the subtropical jet
Mm-hmm.
to like the southern states like Texas and Florida.
Yeah.
Um and usually they bring a lot of rainfall, potentially some snow and possibly enhanced severe weather. So I'm just, kind of nervous of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Ethan, is there anything else we want to go over?
Honestly, I think we've covered a lot of the big stuff for now.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
All right. Well, in that case,
What about the Client Prediction Center and its winter outlooks?
I'm trying to think. How about we save that for a topic for another Triple P show? Because it's been a couple of hours already. I feel like we've cleared a lot of bases. We've done a lot tonight. How about we save that for another episode? How does that sound?
yeah, it's midnight here, so I want to get out.
Sure. All right. We're going to go ahead and end it then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on the stream tonight. Next week is my birthday, so clap that up. I'm going to be turning 23 next Friday. The next Triple P show episode will be the night before on Thursday, July 16th at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. So thank you. So callers, thank you very much for joining the stream. I really appreciate you guys being here. Ethan, thank you for co-hosting this tonight once again. Really glad we actually had a really good show tonight. But yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the best one so far for sure.
Easily. Yeah. So yeah, next week we'll be on again on Thursday, July 16th. David Schlotthauer is going to be on the show once again. He has talked to me about it. He has confirmed with myself, Ethan, and Logan that he will be on the show. So we're going to be excited to see him once again. We're going to actually have a full Triple P show episode with him. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to reach out to Naz Does Weather, see if he's interested. I know he has a new job, so we had to figure all that out. So I'm going to talk to him. Also, if anybody in this call and anybody in the stream knows any weather YouTubers, I mean, Storm Chaser Braden, by the way, weather YouTuber. Trevor is a weather YouTuber. We've had a few weather YouTubers on the show tonight, as a matter of fact.
I will be one soon. I'm aiming at next year. Today was actually supposed to be the day I wanted to launch my channel, but I got to wait for some investment because the mic and monitor setup is not cheap.
Yeah.
And also Earth Central wanted to promote his channel, and also I wanted to promote my Discord server. If that's fine with you. And they're both in the chat.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, so I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let's go ahead and copy that. I'll put Earth Central's. This is Earth Central's channel. Go ahead and check his stuff out. Here's Trevor's channel. Go ahead and check his stuff out right here. Yeah, all right. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and end the stream. Like it and subscribe if you are new. We will be back with another episode on Thursday, July 16th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. It'll be kind of a birthday stream for me, so I'm really excited to see who we can have, who is going to come on, and I'm really excited to see what's going on. By the way, I just wanted to say, before I go, I had the chance to meet Max Velocity the other night. He was on his Discord server. He was hanging out with us. I actually did send him an invite to come on the Triple P show. He's like, I think he just wanted to hang out in the thing. But I got a lot of people saying, "Hey, I could not do that. You had a lot of courage and a lot of confidence to do that. I could not do that." But that's how much this show means to me. Delta wants to say something about Max Velocity. Real quickly, go for it.
No, I was about to say for more of a severe weather based Triple P
Yeah,
show, I think having him on board would be really interesting.
I agree.
I think it'd actually be one of your best people to actually have on here, Pat, because from what I've seen, you and him are actually very similar in my personal opinion. While you focus more on tropics, he focuses more on severe weather. Both recently graduated college and all that. And honestly, I think having you guys kind of like discuss this stuff, like the weather and all that stuff, with very similar amounts of experience,
Mm-hmm.
similar time frame and all that, and
Right.
like assuming he says yes and all that, which we all hope he does, because
Yeah.
I mean, Pat and Ethan are the hosts of the Triple P show, but we've been here along the journey with him
Yeah.
and helping along the way
Mhm.
and giving some feedback and all that and
Right.
getting feedback and helping along the way and all that.
Yep.
But we're just hoping that we can get him on here. And if Max Velocity is checking out this
If he sees this
any of our
episode,
streams, we formally invite you to the
the
Triple P
show,
show.
yeah, Max, if you are seeing this tonight, I hope you liked what you saw tonight with this with our show. We are still working some of the kinks around, but we've made a pretty big step tonight, and I feel confident and I feel comfortable enough to say that hey, hey, you should come on. It's going to be a good program. I feel like we got something good cooking tonight. LTW, is there anything else you want to say before we end things?
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to mention that, like, when we were doing the trying to get Max in,
Yeah.
there was like, almost 50 people.
Yeah, there were almost
that
50
one
people in that call.
VC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I managed to invite Pat in before Max left that VC.
Oh, yeah.
At least Max
One
knows
chance
who I
he could
am
get
now.
through.
At least he knows who
Yeah,
I
he
am.
didn't know who you were before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, we gotta end this because we've been rambling for the last 5 minutes. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on the stream tonight, and thank you for watching it. This would not be possible without you guys. You guys also been killing it lately with the subscribes, the likes, and all that stuff too with the new content I've been putting out. I'm gonna make another video tomorrow. What I'm gonna make it on, we'll figure it out. But until next time, have a wonderful night, guys. Stay safe.